Good day again, students. Here we are going to cover the mean, median, and mode. And we're going to do so quickly and I hope efficiently. And like the last video, what I want you to do is copy everything down on the PowerPoint slide here and turn that in for points on Wednesday. So copy everything down neatly and accurately in your notes and turn that in for points, and then we'll give it back to you and you'll have that for future reference. So again, if we use the Likert type scale item here, I like to go to parties. And now we consider these 9 individuals. So now we have a sample size of 9. We want to compute the 3 measures or indices of central tendency here, the mean, median, and mode. And the general idea here is that we're trying to figure out where the center of the distribution is, or where the data sort of tend to hang out. And you'll see that these 3 indices are like that, but they're a bit different, or they're distinct, and they have their own bits of information they tell you about where the data are located or where the center of the distribution is located at. We'll start with the easiest, and that's the mode. Now the mode is the most frequently occurring value in the data set. So all you have to do is look at your data set and count the most frequently occurring value. Now what I've done here is I've reordered these data from least to greatest. So there's the -2, the couple of -1s, and then you can see there are 3 2s. So that is clearly the most frequently occurring value, so the mode is equal to 2. So all you have to do is look at your data, count up the most frequently occurring value, or find the most frequently occurring value rather, and that's your mode. Just report that single value. So here's another example. Again, I've ordered the data from least to greatest. Now I've got a couple of -2s and 2 2s. So now what do I do with this? Well, there are 2 options. You can either say, in this case, the mode is undefined because I don't have a single most frequently occurring value, or you can say there are multiple modes, and then go ahead and list those, so -2 and 2. Now, SPSS and OOM will report multiple modes. That's typical of software, but either is fine. You can say, in this case, the mode is undefined, or there are multiple modes. But for data like this, where there's clearly a mode, just report that single value then as your mode. Now the next measure of central tendency is the median, and that's the value that divides the distribution into 2 equal halves. So here again, I've taken these 9 individuals or 9 data points and I've ranked them from least to greatest, or ordered them from least to greatest. And now what I do is I find the value that cuts the distribution in half. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 values there, 1, 2, 3, 4 values there. So that value of 1 cuts the distribution in half evenly. So I've got 4 there and 4 up there. So that is your median. So this is all you have to do. There's no formula. There's no trick to it. Just order your data from least to greatest and then find the value that cuts the distribution in half. Let's take a look at another example. So here I've got -2, -2, 1, 0, 2, and 2. And the median here is 0.5. Now how did I get that? Well, here, notice that I've got an even number of values. So 1, 2, 3 values there, 1, 2, 3 values there. So I'm kind of right in the middle. So what you do is you take the 2 numbers in the middle and you add those up and divide by 2. So 1 plus 0 divided by 2 gives me the half. So you split the difference there. And once you do that, then again, you've got 3 values below, 3 values above. When the sample size then is even, you're going to need to take the average of the 2 middle values. So here we had 6 individuals in the sample, and when the n is odd, you're going to need to locate the center of the middle value and just report that. So here we had 9 individuals, and so we fall right on that number there, and that's our median. One more example. So here we've got a -2, a bunch of -1s, a 0, and a 2. Now even with all these -1s in here, we still do the same thing. We've got 3 values here, 3 values up there, so we just find that middle value and report that as the median. Again, if this were an even sample size, we would just split the difference. Even if the values are the same, like 2 -1s, then obviously the average of the 2 -1s is just -1. So just report that value. So again, don't overthink it. Just find the middle value or split the difference and report that as your median. Now the mean is simply the mathematical average. Now here we finally have a formula. We also have a symbol. X bar is going to be the symbol that we'll use for the mean, the sample mean. So X bar is the sample mean. And the formula is sigma x over n. So what does the capital sigma mean? To sum. So I'm simply going to sum the values. X stands for the variable. In this case, it's going to be the party ratings. And here are the 9 values that I would sum up. And then n is the sample size. So again, simply sum the values and divide by the number of values. So if we do that for these 9 individuals, we'll see that the sum is 4, and divide that by 9, and we get 0.44. So let's quickly show how this is calculated on the calculator using a calculator. So look at the values over there. So we'll take 1 plus the negative 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus a negative 1 plus a negative 2 plus 0 plus 2, and that gives us the 4. So there's our 4. We're going to divide that by 9, and voila, we get our 0.44 repeating. So we'll just round it to 2 decimals, as I said in class. So 0.44 is our mean then. So it's just that simple. Add up the values, divide by the number of values, and that's your sample mean. So let's take a look at another example. So negative 2, negative 1, and so forth. Again, we'll sum these values up. So put these into your calculator and do that, and you'll get negative, and do this, the addition. You'll get negative 5, divide that by 7, and the mean there is negative 0.71. Let me show you another feature with the Windows calculator, and your handheld calculator will have functions like this. So I'm going to change this to the statistics calculator. And so now I'll enter the values, so negative 2, and then negative 1. Keep entering those, another negative 1, another negative 1, and 0, and 1. So I have all the values entered here, and then notice there is the mean key. So click that, and there you have it, the negative 0.71. Now later, we'll use the standard deviation keys. Here's the sum key, so sum of x, there's our negative 5 that we saw in the numerator there. But we'll use these other keys as well later on down the road. These computations are a little more complex. So it's handy to learn your scientific calculator so that you can quickly enter in numbers like I did here and hit a button and get the mean and then get the standard deviation. We'll learn about that later. So here is a final data set, and what I'd like you to do is plug these numbers into your calculator and obtain the mean. And let's quickly go through and look at the mode and median as well. So here I've taken the same data and I've arranged them from the least values up to the greatest values here. So 17 all the way up to 22. And for the mode, you can see there are a lot of 18s in there, so we do have a defined mode, so that's 18. The median, again, we look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values there. So we have an even sample size. We're going to have to split the difference here. And so 18 plus 19 divided by 2, and that gives us 18.5. So that is our median. And then for the mean, you can check these computations. So add all of these numbers up, and we get 229. There are 12 values there. And so 229 divided by 12 gives us the 19.08. So there are the 3 measures of central tendency. And we'll work a few more problems in class, and then we're going to move on to indices or measures of dispersion.